Hello everybody, it is I, your favorite VTuber Android Arrowhead, and I am back with yet more Ace Attorney 4, Apollo Justice, whatever you want to call it, and this is trial number 2 for case number 3. Basically, as we found out last time, just to remind myself of what happened. So the guitar was burned at the concert with the device that we found the other day. We found a replica of a cocoon, which, by the way, cures a disease called incuritis. Because of course it is. And, I may have to turn the game audio up or something. Either way. Yeah, that's about it. Actually, yeah, so Machi was smuggling these into the country. We are now having to prove that he didn't kill the guy. I'm pretty sure it was the guitarist Darian, but we don't know quite for sure. And here's a diagram of the Coliseum. Also, here's the ignition thing for the igniter. Anyway, so yeah, we're cross-examining them. I kind of forgot that we are cross-examining them. But hold on, did she swallow during any part of this? Because that was the sign I thought that, like, I had to perceive something. There's no escaping it. I can perceive you. Here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, Trucy. I do. What's wrong, Apollo? You had a tummy ache or something? Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it. Let's perceive! Actually, wait. Maybe he blinks or something. No, okay, good. My stick drift is back. God damn it. Hold on. Since we can see his eyes, I'm guessing he'll blink during one of these, and that's gonna be the tell. If the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song... Alright, we're gonna pass in this one too. We're gonna perceive until we get it. It's gotta be in his eyes. I think he does understand English. Aha! Gotcha! You moved your eyes, which means you're evil, actually. Machi. Can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lemiro said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned a name for this language, that is all. What? Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? She makes a point, but, you know, do you not know Espanol, for instance? No, I don't. Well, yeah, but... I am sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know that the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? Yes. It is simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. Why? Why would a paper from, like, another country be posted here? In Japanifornia. And the background's just reminding me of Balatro. They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right! What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. I'm guessing it's this. I think. Wait, hold on. Recording of Lemira's performance. Actually, wait, let's see. Is there anything else I can show that would prove that he's lying? Not this. Sure? I have here a Borginian newspaper. The Borginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? He's illiterate! That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper. What sort of voice should I do for the hieroglyphs? What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes. Not possible. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. I need to make his voice more German and less French. And if anyone hears that I think those two accents, when I do them, sound relatively similar, I think I'll start a war in Europe. So I need to not say that. Ignore the fact that I just did. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. Ugh. Machi, admit it. You watch anime dubs, don't you? The witness will explain himself. Machi says... He says... Yes? It is true I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lemira? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Then it looks like our forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. It seems so, yes. I do that a lot. I think you'll find that we do a lot of presuming in the United States. I fucking love that one clip from LA Noire where it's like the best accused ever. No. No! I was onto something, I know it! I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today. Mr. Justice, are you finished with the cross-examination? What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to keep on cross-examining. I'd better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. If you must, you must. Very well. Witness? I understand. Maybe not him this time, but her. Let's see, if he... He didn't glance over this time, but she might. As I recall, Hertel was swallowing, or something. One more time. I need to see your eyes. Nope! Gotcha! Fucking you didn't! You lied! Lemire, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. You see, there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lemire, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lemire, you're protecting... I mean, Machi's the most obvious answer. Lemire, you are protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you would explain how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi! I believe you didn't do it. Really. I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have Lemire lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Ah! I like how screaming in English is very different than screaming in Borginian. Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little, only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lemire? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? Last. This is last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting! I did no shooting! So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those two gunshots, correct? Huh? Oh, wait, Machi, hold on, dial that one back. What are you doing here? Apparently, the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk. Manager, he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there is voice. Voice? Or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up. I take off. Run away, run away. Run away, run away. So, let me put out a little theory before we get any further in this. We already know the victim's body was taken from the dressing room to the stage without anyone seeing it, along with Machi being there too. What if he wasn't actually killed in the dressing room, and although the gunshots were fired in there, it wasn't what killed him? Granted, that may be pretty off base and probably wrong, but we'll see. So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No! He's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting! Manager on floor! Already on floor! The victim had already been shot, you say? I find that hard to believe. Apartment complex? I find it quite simple. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. I feel like my voice for him is off today. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness? Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait. No, of course there is! What is this cocoon, anyway? The silk is a potent cure for, incuritis. Incuritis. What a name for a disease. Especially one that apparently can be cured. Okay. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please, tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust there, Forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe in him. Or didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. July 10th, 11:23 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Apollo Justice. That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. I know he meant get some justice and not get some bitches, but I immediately read that as get some bitches. Or like get some, you know? Anyway, believe. I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it? Hey, law bitch! Yeah, thanks. Yeah, my suit is as dapper as ever. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Yeah, fun fact. Not only is this kid not blind, but he's also able to speak English. He's hiding a lot of things. Suddenly, I hear revolver. Close. Very close. Then, I hear voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true. I hear a revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead and then you heard shots? Okay, so that theory that I had about him not necessarily being in the room is possible. Even though it's confusing, man, why are we talking about bitches? So basically, at one point, okay, so let me scroll back a sec. All right, so he was like Apollo Justice, and then Apollo was like, better learn how to say that if you ever want to get some. And clearly saying like, better learn how to say that if you ever want to get some justice. But I've only heard get some as in like bitches. So it's like, oh yeah, you can't pronounce words properly. You'll never be mated in full. That's true. So you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots? And you escaped through the air vent. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I opening vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. My body immediately went to getting railed. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it, essentially, I think. But yeah. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right! Hey, he's right! Look, Apollo! Huh? Yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. Seriously, he could have just looked at the vent. I hear this from Magician. A magician? Just don't look at me! A magician, huh? Well, we already know who that is, because like, we've met him before. Valant Gramarye. So the only two disabled people were witnesses to the crime. Only one of them was actually disabled. Apparently the other one is actually just lying about it. For marketing reasons? I'm not entirely sure on that one, but, you know. Okay. A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's gonna go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I feel like that's not entirely true. I'll just pretend you misheard him. Every time. So, what do we do? You're sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking. No. Well, it was worth a shot. One disability fraud cause and one actual impaired person. Pretty much, yeah. That's accurate. That cocoon. I can't go home. Yep, because he stole the cocoon, and he smuggled it over here, which is a crime there. And yeah. He's dead. Of course, he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo. So, what's your plan? If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? Like Gavin! I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right! July 10th, 11:28 a.m. Wait, so that break was 5 minutes? Huh. District Court, Courtroom number 3. Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So will he testify? Your Honor, the defendant will not testify. Oh, what? Shame, and here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. A different... angel? Angle, Your Honor. Angle? Okay. If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. Darian? Or Gavin? Or... I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case. Lemire. Oh, I guess she could know. I guess she could know too. Lemire? The friendly Valent's name has like 3 different puns depending on the region. Huh. Trying to think of what it would be for English. Valant Gramarye. I mean, I guess there's grammar in there, but it doesn't really seem very grammar stuff. Valant could be like valiant. Or so maybe it's like a reference to a different magician? I don't know. Valant Gramarye. Valant Gramarye. Yeah, I got nothing. I sought to be determined yesterday that Lemire's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lemire was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Assaulted? Someone wanted Lemire dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've heard no such report! Shouldn't we have told the prosecution about that? I guess it's not necessarily relevant to the case, so there's that. But, So in Japanese, Valent's name is just a way of saying should not have spoken frankly. Gramarye for English is apparently grimoire. Oh, okay. And Valent is valiant. Okay. Valiant I got, but yeah, that's funny. Grammary, grimoire, grammari, grimoire, gramarar. Yeah, whatever. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lemira? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think? You're right, Your Honor. I don't think. I know. I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Apparently, it's meant to mention he wants to be a great magician, although he already is. Huh. That's funny. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely that there is a nugget of truth in Lemira's testimony? A nugget we have yet to uncover? Exactly. If Lemira was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There was some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lemira's testimony once more. With hopefully fewer lies this time. Lemira, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent. And I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window. And that the voice belonged to Darian Crescend, yes? Apparently Valent's name is French is, I'm not kidding, Virgil. Really? I am the magician that is approaching. That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice? I don't know exactly what yet, but I know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court? Of course, Your Honor. What I heard. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot. Blah, blah, blah. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. Her hearing the gunshot earlier is something that lines up with what Machi said. I'm sorry. Wait, what? Yeah, pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. Then it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lemira was attacked because of this testimony. What? Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. I do better when I don't think at all. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness. Man, he hears everything somehow. Alright. My bracelet isn't glowing, so that's not gonna work here. Let's press her on this. Now there's like 8 total different puns depending on the region. I guess he really is magic. The magic of name jokes. Yeah. Yeah, it is funny how you can pack so many jokes into the same thing. You perform the same, brain off or not. That's true, yeah. Although I will say, I do find that like when I'm playing hard games like Ninja Gaiden 4 yesterday, sometimes I just do better when I like... You remember that there was like 2 minutes where I just didn't say anything at all? Sometimes when I just shut off my brain and lock in, I do the best that I can. There were 2 gunshots. Yes, I heard 2. One after the other. That fits with the bullet holes at the scene. Nothing really new here to pick up. Maybe we have to press her on all of this to proceed. Why didn't you tell someone immediately? Well, if it were me, I would have gone to the police right away. It is our duty as... It's our duty as citizens. This may be besides the point, but Lemira isn't a citizen. So one would hope such common sense prevails in Borginia as well. Lemira seems awfully quiet all of a sudden. That's strange. Should she be hiding something? It is as you say, yet at the time... One of the things I'll give you credit for, you do take a lot of the You Suck at Games on the chin a lot more openly, and I appreciate your acceptance of that, because a lot of people would have tweaked. I mean, I, at this point, fully understand the fact that, like, my win rate for most things is, like, maybe 0.1... I've got, like, a 0.1 KD 95% of the time. I know what I am. And it's, like, I think the main thing is just that I don't really have any actual, like, pride when it comes to being good at games. So it's a lot easier for me to just be like, yeah, well, you know, I kind of suck. That's just kind of it. Yeah, it's like, I've never really been someone who is, like, particularly good at games beyond just the standard of, like, I'm pretty good at Monster Hunter sometimes, but also kind of not. So, you know, it's a little here and there. You were in a hurry to go where? I was on my way to the backstage exit, as I have said. Why were you in such a hurry then? Well, I don't think that has anything to do with this case. Usually in the negatives, but you have fun with that. Yeah, pretty much. As long as I'm having fun. I will say, one of the few times I have been, like, you can tell sometimes I do kind of lose it a bit. Where, if you go back and watch it, I don't remember which episode of the Armored Core 6 playthrough I did, but I mentioned this yesterday. I did have a little bit of a crash out against the, what's the name of that one boss you fight on top of the building at the end of, like, Act 1 or something, where it's like a sphere and it has, like, guns coming out of all sides of it, and it keeps firing at you. It's got a shield that's really hard to get down, and it's, like, at a point in the game where you don't have a lot of good weapons yet. So you can't just melt it. But, yeah, it was that thing. I spent, like, 2 hours fighting that one boss. That was an actual crash out. Very casual gamer, very rare trait of content creators. Yeah, I think casual is probably part of my appeal, in general. I mean, hell, look at how many attempts it took me to beat Sans. Though, in part, I will say, in my defense, at least some of those were definitely attributed to the fact that my, the sensitivity of the controller was off. As we found out pretty quickly afterwards. Which I still find very funny that for some reason it was on max sensitivity at the start for... I don't even know why. But yeah. It very well might. Please answer the question. Are you alright, Lemire? Yes, I am just tired. Recall what I told you yesterday, Airforehead. Lemira suffers from serious amnesia. Please refrain from traumatizing her further. What, we can just dismiss questions he thinks are too traumatizing? Why don't you prove her reason had a connection to the case before asking about it, yeah? The prosecution's objection is sustained. The current question is moot. Mr. Justice, please continue with your cross-examination. Lemire was attacked because of this testimony. I know she was. So something has got to be hidden here. Balteus, yeah, that's it. Balteus destroyed me. A lot of your settings are the definition of fuck around and find out later. Yeah, I will admit, I am pretty cavalier, and I think if I just pay attention a little stronger than I currently do, I'd probably be fine. But in a way, it's also a little funnier to have me be like, I'm fine, it'll go okay, than have me fail horribly. I do think there's some comedy in that. Not to say that I ever fail on purpose, but like, usually I don't have to. Maybe there's some detail we're missing. I guess we'll just have to get her to fill in the blanks. Right. Let's just press her on everything. But yeah, Balteus fucked me up. That was a rough one. I was like, I fucking hate this boss. God damn it. This boss sucks. And immediately after beating it, I calmed down and I was like, you know what, that was a pretty good boss. You know, this game is pretty fun. I like it. It is interesting also to see just the speed at which I will like cool down a little bit after a crash out. Is something wrong? I know I said hold it, but she's saying the same thing she said before. Also makes for a good underdog story. Until you actively start doing attempts whilst tilted. Yeah, that's usually when things start getting a little crazy. Mr. Justice? Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony. Now I know what they mean about the reckless youth these days. The one in red over there is a shining example there, Judge. You snapped mentality and course corrected, only for it to never be heard. Yeah... You're the last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar. Dorian Crescend? I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him. The one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There's no way you could have had him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. Okay, yeah, what were they talking about? Lemire, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I have given it much reflection, but... I was afraid of this. Doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it. The clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? He said, Apollo Justice is the killer. What? No. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Dorian Crescend. I kinda wish you recorded the audio as a safety net in case OBS goes fuck you so you could replay the audio file of you losing your shit even as a short. Well, keep in mind, Armored Core, the audio was fine. It was Ninja Gaiden that the audio got fucked up for. Ninja Gaiden Black in particular. But yeah, that is, I should consider doing that just as like a little separate thing. Like, the restored version of this stream. Or, better yet, I could like, do like a live dub of it. Where I'm just, I think that'd be like a funny idea for a stream. Where I live dub a stream that I had fucked up previously. In this case, the Ninja Gaiden Black stream. It'd be like, hello everybody, it is I, your favorite VTuber Android Arrowhead, and today I'm going to eat shit. And it's just, I don't know, just random shit like that, or like, haha, haha, one! The shooter, then. Dorian Crescend. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch. Now! Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche? Yes, it was weird because they had a Wii in the room, but the switch wasn't out yet. I thought it quite strange myself afterward. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, sure, it was very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? So would that happen to be this switch? Wait, this is a 30-foot range and this is a 30-foot range. Maybe he was talking to someone else. Well, let's press her on this. And it was Detective Darian Crescen's voice? Yes, I am sure of it. It's over. Press the switch. A compilation of you analyzing your dumber mistakes would be kind of funny. Not in the... Yeah, no, I got it. Like, at this moment, he knew he fucked up. Yeah. Basically, anytime I say, like, I've got this, and then immediately after, I don't have it. Why would he say that to Mr. Latouche? Apollo? The murder weapon, the revolver was Mr. Latouche's, right? Yeah, what of it? Well, maybe when he said, press the switch, he really meant to say, pull the trigger. Because his English isn't so good. Darian Crescen is a native speaker. Oh, right. Sorry, I kind of forgot who was what. Press the switch. It's not something a killer usually says to their victim, is it? Was there no one else in the room? I do not know. All I heard was Mr. Latouche and the detective. Let's present this. Objection! There we go. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh. The moments where you say, I'm way too leveled for this, and then get tapped by some random goons. Oh yeah. There was a bit in Expedition 33 where I was like, I leveled up so much, I'm not even sure if anything else is going to be a challenge for me. I then proceed to immediately die to a boss. As is my folly, I suppose. Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch. Save the lights. Save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But it just so happens, I have a switch right here. Okay, Apollo, I know that's evidence, but maybe don't say I have a switch right here, then take out what is clearly a detonator. Especially not holding it like that. Like, I feel like this would get him shot. At least in America. It certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. Honestly, I'm forgetting who's American and who isn't. Everyone's fucking Latino, Hispanic, fucking even the fictive races. The damn French. Yeah, so, basically you can just, I guess, tell by the way they write the dialogue, for the most part. Like, if they have proper grammatical English, they're probably English. If not, you know, it varies. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. Are you claiming that the voice the mirror heard was of someone commanding another to press this switch? It's a possibility. Objection! Oh, Herr Forehead? I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from the mirror's dressing room. Not to mention that the Gaviners were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have her forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Swinging a detonator is a very bold move to pull out in the middle of a courtroom, although I think I haven't seen a bailiff yet. I think there is a bailiff just in the corner, but I don't think, like, this is a good idea still. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said. Or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from the dressing room. Oh, wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message from someone on the stage to the dressing room. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this. Why, is that... What? What is it? Is that some kind of a newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? They've had earphones for years. What are you talking about? This is a type of transmitter. A communications device. Communications? Device? Communications? Device? From what I heard last night, everyone on stage is wearing these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually. They're for talking between band members. We all had fun on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. The only argument against Apollo getting jumped is them knowing the trigger is the dead switch. It also, ideally, he doesn't have his finger on the button. That would look very bad. No way he's that old. Is the man still writing letters like texts? The really funny thing is, he's looked like that for, like, physically, for minimum the last, like, I want to say 15 or 16 years in-game at this point. No one knows how old this guy is, he just keeps surviving. It is also kind of funny to think about. I think the Judge is the character with the single most screen time out of any Ace Attorney character. Any one of them. Because Phoenix has a few games he's not in, but the Judge is... Actually, I don't know if he's in Investigations now that I think about it, but I think he might be. But either way, he's in this game, which Phoenix is kind of a little absent for at least this trial. He's in all the original games. I think he might have the single most screen time of any one character. True, but wait. Zor sent out an electronic signal. The fact he keeps that beard so pristine for all this time too is impressive. Yeah. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. The mirror said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Ah, exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. I want to be honest, I do not have a direct measurement of exactly how far this is. That can't be! So when Lemire heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage. Apparently he has 0 established age aside from old man. Actually wait, can I could have sworn the character profile, yeah, age 33, so the Judge doesn't have a profile on here. He could be minimum 800 years old. I want to see them do like a prehistoric Ace Attorney or something like that, and he's just still there, like, judging dinosaurs or something. Now, did the Velociraptor enter the cave to kill the caveman? Also, why are the cavemen alive at the same time as dinosaurs? You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said, press the switch. Well, I guess we don't. An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it. I was sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch, anyway? No, he'd be the tribe chief passing judgment on to unreliable tribesmen. There you go, that works better. We don't even know that basic fact. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Yeah, it burned his guitar. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning this switch, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Justice? I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to this case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is? I think what it wants me to do is this. Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this? Hark! That what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? No, Your Honor, it's a GPU. This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? Igniter? I barely know her. You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is a remote? I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. Yeah, Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I expected. If my whiskers had caught on fire... Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Ah, exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance. Wasn't that part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right! He got it in Borginia from Le Mirror. He said the sound was amazing! Before it burned, of course. Now it just kinda smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Why are you burning it, though? I mean, obviously I know why I got burned in this case. I'm asking, like, in general, like, the brighter it burns. It's like, okay, but why would you burn other guitars? And forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by Le Mirror, and the guitar's sudden catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really? It seems pretty simple to me. Yeah, forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I'll try not to. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong. What's all this about, Prosecutor Gavin? His simple story simply makes no sense. Think, that night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this, indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. Heck, that's right, of course. The guitar caught fire during Lemur's song. Indeed. Yet the shooting happened during the third set. Paul's logic is pretty sound. Only gap is why the guitar was the target for burning. That's another thing too, is like motive-wise, we have no idea why they did that. Other than just following the lyrics of the song, but even then, like, why? Like, unless the killer's just crazy, which they could be, you know, Yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated. Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty. See, his story makes no sense. Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. The sudden cut from 2D to 3D is killing me. Oh yeah. Funny thing is, later games being 5 and 6, and also Greatest Attorneys, are in 3D, so that would be less of a cut there. But yeah, this was the first time they really tried incorporating, like, I guess not the first time, considering the fifth case of the first game. But they tried putting 3D into this one, and, you know, it kind of shows. What premise is this specifically? I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. What's this? But Detective Emma Skye heard shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act. Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. One of my favorite character deaths comes to the 3D game, so I can't wait for that. Oh, that'll be great, yeah. I'm very interested in seeing all the other stuff. I also want to see the clown. You know the clown lady who was in like memes a while back? I can hear the silence in the distance. Order in the court! Anyway. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane! Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote-triggered igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance. The second act. What? The Clussy! I know you're thinking of, yeah, the Clussy. The one where, like, the pops the balloons, and SpongeBob's like, they were fake? And it's like, they're always fake. I love that meme. Order! 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 Remember many trap femboy jokes thanks to that reveal? Yeah. That was a pretty funny meme for a while. Well, that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? Hey, he's right. Look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look. Why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it. Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason. Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose? Reversed, Prosecutor Gavin? If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet, a forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's true objective. The crash out being a very sudden breast reduction surgery. I mean, yeah, it's just the popping of the balloons. Like, that's a very funny way to put it, yeah. I like how creative they get with some of the crash outs. Like, I remember there was one for, I think it was the first trial of the third game. But there's a character who previously was always shown, like, kind of bald in the other games, but the beginning of the third game takes place well before that. So you get to see the origin of how, like, Mia Fey managed to shock him into, like, losing all of his hair. And it was great. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was a ruse. But that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way. Order! 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 That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. You have people effectively transcending to godhood and rage. Then you have just, the Clussy is a lie, it has always been. I'm flat! That was an incredible reveal though. Amazing. But I question your logic. For it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Air Forehead. One I pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lemira have heard a voice through it? I mean, windows can be heard through, you know? Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact. But you are basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. Lemira's testimony is my entire case. That voice you heard is the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch? And near the crime scene we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be a coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated, immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how Lemira heard the voice? A key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? Okay, Justice. You got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lemira heard a voice. She heard it during the second set. Think. How was Lemira able to hear the voice? Oh, there we go. What if she wasn't there? I haven't drank much water today. My nose has been bleeding on and off all day. I recommend drinking water then. I get that feeling that sometimes I go for a while without a drink and then it's, my nose just kind of gushes a bit. I get it. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open, either. Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. Ah, it's good to hear you're making sense again. For a moment I was afraid you might be a Borginian too. Head over to the defendant and she's like, "That's racist," or the current witness. There can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. What's this? Ha 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 ha, you do amuse me so. Indeed, I thought you and good sense were back on speaking terms. Never! Now, I'm afraid you and good sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret for you, Airforehead? Lemira clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. Hey, Sakura, welcome to the stream. How you doing? And there is only one small window at the scene. Good sense with this turning? Exactly, yeah. Never! I will never use logic. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? Every door is a window if you use enough glass. All I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim the mirror heard the voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. The mirror heard the voice from here. Oh, it's the, fucking... The mirrors, isn't it? That's the hint. Does this look like a small window to you, Mr. Justice? State of modern society can be read from numerous objects and artifacts. In a sense, anything can be a window on our society. Damn it. I've seen the 2026 LEGO Marvel stuff. Not really. I've, let me think. I know I've seen a few cool new sets, but, like, I haven't seen a lot of the new stuff. I know there was an Arkham Asylum thing that came out recently, and that looks pretty cool. I didn't ask you to point out a window on society. I want a window on the crime scene. No points for trying. Small window. What are we doing about was closed. Only one other thing she could have meant. I'm thinking it's the vent. Because how would a blind person know what a window is? This is where Lemira heard that voice from. But that's no small window. That's the air vent. There it is. Oh, Venomized Wolf. Oh, it's kind of Oh. Ghost Rider looks cool. Oh, nice. When do they bring back Bionicles? That's always a good opportunity for, like, making that kind of stuff. Society and crime go hand in hand, so fuck you, exactly. Can't have one without the other. She said she's a Borginian unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called an air vent a small window. Also, she can't see. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lemira was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice. That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Airforehead. Okay, what about it isn't logical? Haha, it hardly merits saying. Why would Lemire be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lemire? You've been listening to our discussion here, right? Yes, I admit it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Venomized Captain America on the other hand looks amazing, but this has to be the 5th or 6th Spider-Man car we've gotten in the last 5 years. What can I say? Spider-Man likes cars. Oh. But yeah, it is also the concept of a Spider-Man car is kind of funny when you consider that he can like zip around with his webs, so he doesn't like need a car. I haven't read this Glaze of Mirror a lot. Yeah, definitely. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I fear our prosecutor might need himself an interpreter. Problem here is words. Lemire, the small window you heard through which you heard the small window through which you heard the voice. Was it up high on the ceiling of the room? Not low like a vault? Not low like a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. Wow, she's kind of short, at least in perspective. Order! Order! I will have order! Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you, in fact, saying that you went above and beyond the ceiling of the room? That's where you heard the moment of the crime. Yes, in fact, I was. I am sorry. I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I'm not sure I can't. I'm excited for the Batman stuff with 3 new Batmobiles on the Golden Batman. That sounds pretty cool. You know, depending on which person you're looking at, his web fluid may be running out during a chase. That's true. Isn't this case talking about words entirely different depending on the judge actually uses in the literal rule? Because if he uses any other rule, then wouldn't they have a bad argument? Yeah. May I remind you, this is a murder trial? We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of the room. Please. Oh, looks like I'm on the right track. Doesn't this case feel talking about words entirely dependent if the judge actually uses the literal rule? Because if he used any other rule, that wouldn't have a bad argument. I guess so, but we'll see. Above the ceiling. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no idea I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bounded by secrecy on this matter. Her English is pretty good. Bound to security? Or bound to secrecy? The literal is taking the literal definition of window, by the way. No, I agree. I got it. I think. For the most part. Basically, you're just taking things that are like Oh, well, any logical person would say it's this, so that way it's the literal rule. Don't bother applying rules in your logic case, Tony. Your laws have no real binding despite what it looks like. Except for don't kill people. In that case, don't do it. That's also true for real life. In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. What do you say? You were in the middle of your performance? So this did happen during the second set. I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard. Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for. Yeah, I have heard. Applying the law just makes it funnier. Yeah, a little. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no blinding pact may hinder that first mission. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was up above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. Okay, I already did this. Also, the Lori for Back to the Future LEGO next year looks pretty great. Okay, I'll check it out. That sounds pretty cool. Let's see. I am probably gonna have to call the stream soon because I am starting to blink out of this. As you can see by the long pauses between words. If I had to guess, it might be this one. Secrecy. Sworn to secrecy on it. What do I want to say? You were above the ceiling when I heard the voice. Alright. For $20 just to get Doc and Marty with the car is pretty insane. Really? 20 bucks only? Huh. I need to get back to my Beyblade stuff, because I designed one for myself yesterday, but I haven't seen anything for it in years. Yeah, Beyblade's kind of niche at this point. I think ultimately you're maybe they have it at like some card shops or local game stores or something. They have like little tournaments or whatever. Or you can try to organize one yourself. Granted, that is much harder, but you know, something. Alright, let's press her on this. Above the ceiling, could you be more specific? I cannot. Because you're bound to secrecy? Yes. To tell the truth, I was not supposed to even say I was above the ceiling. I dare not say more. I don't have any friends IRL within travel distance. Yeah, that's kind of the hard part with like physical games. Doesn't sound like I'll be able to just coax it out of her just by asking. By small window, you mean the air vent? I only remembered I needed to be careful of where I put my hands and feet. I cannot see the light coming through the window, of course. The air vent grade could trip you up, certainly. Trying to space out too. So I was walking very carefully when I heard the gunshots. Startled, I crouched and listened. That is when I heard his voice come from the room. Darian's voice. I knew something terrible had happened, yet... So without a word, you just let the third set start? After the curtain closed for the second set, there was still much to do. You could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you had only told us sooner. Yes, perhaps I could have. I see. I see little point in badgering the witness. What's done is done. The mind works differently when one is in the middle of a performance. Why, I've lost my voice in the middle of a show and kept on singing, completely unaware. Singing without a voice? If only all contradictions were so obvious. If only I could get Lemira to talk. Pressuring her like this doesn't seem to be getting me anywhere. You heard the gunshots during the second set, during your performance. You're quite sure? Yes. Why would I lie about the time? Why didn't you tell us this yesterday? No one asked me. I thought you all knew. I told you Machi was not the killer. I told you this many times. Yes, you did. But you never told us why. I am sorry. I was not able to speak of it. Unable or unwilling? She's not talking, Apollo. What do we do now? Or what do we do? We'll just have to prove it ourselves. As long as she's bound by this pact of silence, she won't talk. If I can prove why she was up there, she'll have to admit it. But how are you going to do that? She was singing on the stage, Apollo. You couldn't have been lured up to the ceiling, too? Or she couldn't have been above the ceiling, too? Yes, she could. I've got a theory as to why, too. Maybe I've got the evidence to prove it. So it's because of the magician, and that's part of the trick, probably. Exactly who bound you to secrecy? I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps that is alright. It is just a name, after all. It was Valent Gramarye. Perhaps you know him? Valent Gramarye? What? You mean Uncle Valent? What? Valent Gramarye? Who's Valent Gramarye? A grand magician. The one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert. I said court for a second. Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. Lemira was bound to secrecy. It's going to take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there. But how do I prove it? Let's see. No time to report what I had heard. Cannot say. I can't present Valent Gramarye himself, but... Maybe this is a clue somehow. I'm getting confused as to where everyone actually was during the crime. We'll figure it out eventually. You probably dropped through a hole in the stage. Because look, she could have gone through the vents down there, and that's why she would theoretically be going to the other part of the room. Prove it ourselves. Okay. I think we have the evidence for it as well. Nope, didn't mean to press her on that shit. So yeah, I need to present probably the tape with the performance on it. There we go. Okay. Lemire, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. I think the final case is even longer than this. Yeah, I've heard the final case of this one was probably one of the longer ones in the series. I don't know if that's true, but, like, it is apparently quite long. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. Burning on in my heart fire. Burn my love away. All away. Like a bullet of love fire. Take my life away, all away. Guitar, guitar. Up together. To the sky. He's trying to save his guitar. He's like, why? Why did this happen? As we can see, Lemire was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Ah! Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Lemire is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo? What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. Apparently case 6-5 takes over 10 fucking hours to complete. 10 hours is actually relatively light for this, considering the, 1-5. That was, 1-5 was one of the longer ones for me. Like, if you go watch, I think my, my playthrough of Ace Attorney 1 was approximately 18 streams, and I'm pretty sure at least half of those were just one case, and that was the last case of the game. 1-5 was very long, and it's also really, really good, in my opinion, but, you know. It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer, I'm not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating, but how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. 1-5 takes roughly 9 hours for the average player, apparently. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty long. You couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha! He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here, we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage through the backstage to the rear of the forum. Recall Lemire's testimony from yesterday. Life is on stage from the backstage to the exit, something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. You went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lemire knew of this because of her part in the illusion. But she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know if I open vent, I can leave stage and backstage. Right, that's how he knew. Okay. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet I had no idea of the routes that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lemire to secrecy. Well, Lemire? I'm impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you. So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Well, that's that, but I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honor? As I said before... There was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds, tops! How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's a good question. Examples of really long cases. Turnabout Ablaze, 7 hours, 24 minutes. Rise from the Ashes, 7 hours, 45 minutes. Turnabout Revolution, 12 hours. Okay, a Turnabout Revolution... I haven't done Turnabout Ablaze or Turnabout Revolution yet, but yeah, Rise from the Ashes was 1-5. And yeah, the fact that there are 2 cases that are comparable in terms of time, at least, is interesting. Can the witness explain this to the court? I cannot. Very well, Mr. Justice. Yes. It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? You need to explain how Lemira was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Ugh. Why do I get picked on? It's Lemira who isn't going along with the program here. As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her. Yes, if you would, please. Right. I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There was an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. Yeah, that's pretty, yeah. Yeah, 6-5 is commonly regarded as the longest case to play through, so good luck on that. You know what? I might as well make that the last case I do for the franchise. Because I've heard that, like, I think that's the last one where it's Phoenix versus Edgeworth, and that's like the whole thing. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different one. But I've heard that was... Maybe I'll just do that last, like the DLC cases for the 6th one. That'd be a nice little way to close out the series. 2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As does my curiosity! Take it away, Mr. Justice! Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between the mirror is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I am a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here! The big illusion. I'll do it exactly as instructed. Where's the exit? The forum on the opposite side from the stage. Okay, that lines up. Move there in 2 minutes. This is the part that weirds me out. Why would it be 2 minutes? 2 minutes? Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running. Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling? Haha, Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or light, it makes no difference to me. Ah, that is true, but... So you're saying that on the night of the concert you made the trip in 2 minutes? Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. The mirror disappears on the video for 20 seconds, but she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer's right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us. Something that could explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony? Heck. Evidence explaining the discrepancy? Do I? I guess it could be a body double, but... Well, Most Danganronpa trials take somewhere between 2 to 3.5 hours at max. This game is almost triple that yeah. Realistically quadruple, yeah. It's, keep in mind, it's not all one trial, but like, to be fair, Danganronpa, it is a little deceptively long for that, because you also have to include, like, the pre-trial investigation and then the actual trial, which pre-trial investigation is usually at least 2 hours, at least for me. So, that's more like 5 hours, but yeah, I agree, it's a long one. What can I do that would explain that? Do I have evidence explaining the discrepancy? I don't think I do, but I feel like the answer is yes. But I don't know. Maybe this? Huh. So there's 20 seconds in the video. Unless it's a body double, which I doubt. I don't think that would be her. What would do it? What would happen? Wrap myself around me, now I fly. Now through the air I fly. Chapter 6 of Danganronpa V3, the longest case in all of Danganronpa, being a total of 4 hours long, is only a third of the longest attorney case. That is crazy. That is actually nuts. Now watch Danganronpa 2x2 come out and it has like an 8-hour long case or trial. What shows the discrepancy? Why did it take 2 minutes for her, but 20 seconds for the rest of us? Maybe she has no sense of time? Time dilation? The gravity is stronger in the tunnel? I don't think I do. I'm sure I have to, because it says presenter no evidence, but what kind of evidence could prove that? What's your professional opinion about this one, Trucy? Sorry, I don't work in evidence. And I don't work in tricks! I'm an attorney, not a magician, for crying out loud! I'm gonna have trouble thinking of who lives longer, you or the playthrough of the Ace Attorney series. It could be both. Really? I'm sure Daddy would have loved working on this. Well, thanks, that makes me feel oh so much better. Well, I don't know about all of you, but I find this mystery fascinating. And I'm not letting this trial go any further until we get to the bottom of it. Judge. The defense will continue the cross-examination until we have some answers. Easier said than done. On my way when I heard the voice. Let's just press her on this. And it was Dorian's voice you heard? Yes, I am certain it was him. A matter best left for later, yeah? Put that forehead of yours to work on this illustration first. Hold on, I think the identity of the killer is a little more important, don't you? Importance. Objection overruled. Tell us about the illusion. You are terrible at your job, Judge. No use trying to avoid the problem at hand, Apollo. Trying to avoid the problem? This is a murder trial. The killer is the problem. The contradiction between Lemura's testimony and the video. Unraveling an illusion can't be so different from solving a normal case, right? Sorry, Apollo. I'm not telling. Not even if you make those puppy dog faces. Fine, fine. Basically, it's this. Who hired these people? No one here should have a job. There's only the 15-year-old girl in court with a magician's outfit. She's a legal aid. I guess. I guess I have to present evidence. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Uh-huh. Could it be the guitar? Why is the 15-year-old on the stand with the attorney? I guess she's just a legal aid. That's all I can come down to. Or, like, help? Legal counsel? Something like that? Even though she's also not a lawyer? Okay, not this. Not this. Unless you saw her in the vent, which is possible. 2 minutes, 20 seconds. 2 minutes, 20 seconds. What would explain her going slower in the tunnel? 1 minute if you run. I mean, it can't be as simple as presenting the diagram, right? Because we've just seen that. We don't need to see it again. Unless there's like a way to travel through the vent at like a high speed. Legal age for Japanese lawyers is supposed to be close to 28. Nobody should be here. You know what? You're right. That's true. Okay, not this. Not this. Not this. Not that. I would say this. Kinda. Maybe. You already saw the pin. Did we ever even use this in trial? Unless... I'm gonna look at this again. Yep, see, that's when that ignited. It started burning. One, two, three, four, five. I'm not counting. All right. Maybe the guitar distracted people and they cut out that part of the video? It looks so orange in the 3D world. Yeah. Wait, hold on. She's got the brooch there, but does she have it when she reappears? Maybe the brooch is the key. Does she still have the brooch on when she reappears? She doesn't, I think. Her hair's blocking it, I can't see. She doesn't have it, okay. Brooch. Lemure. You happen to remember this brooch? Okay. Aha, the brooch! We saw that yesterday, did we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now, why? Good eye, yeah. Okay, so that's what that was. I thought we had already determined that when that was dropped. So did I. But we hadn't. Granted, I don't think this clears up the time dilation thing, but... yeah, whatever. Take another look at the video. Upgrading those optics was a good choice. Yeah, I can see everything. I see it all. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch. So she is. Let's look a bit later. What? The brooch is gone! It's gone! What? Yes. The brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds, and it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can only be one explanation. I am Lemire. No. The Lemire we see before the Vanishing Act and the Lemire we see after are two different people. Okay, so there was a double. Gotcha. What? The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lemire, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. You mentioned there being a stagehand as well. Order, Prosecutor Gavin! From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Judge. I, of course, knew about it. What? Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So, I was right? There was a switch? There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lemire was replaced. While we're on the subject, who was this replacement for Lemire? This replacement Lemire? By the man behind the illusion, Valent Gramarye. It was Gramarye? That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage. That's right, but this fake Lemire is still singing. And she's pretty good. That's true. Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. We were just playing a recording. Ha 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 ha. So Gavin is on some kind of air guitar band, Fräulein. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live. No recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lemire. Very well. Yes, do tell. We're not to your testimony. That wasn't it. Sing even while I moved. So is that where the earpiece comes from? Hold on, let's press her on this. You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this. Okay, yeah, she was using that. Gotcha. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing when everywhere I go is the same darkness? Yeah, but that means the killers might have heard her. What if you were singing while you were walking? That's right! Wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all. That is right! Are you sure? It'd have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? Pennsylvania. I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. Lip syncing. How dare. Yeah, he's sweating. You can't really see your mouth through the veil through the distance, so it was easy to hide it. That's true. The speaker? That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Oh, that's from monitoring the stage from this room. From this room. Okay, Omni-Man. Yeah. It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones. Useful for knowing when your set is coming up. Satisfied? That dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. That's my request, actually. So Lemire singing in the ceiling sounded just like Lemire singing over the speaker. Ingenious! Her voice was hidden by her voice! The sound amps would provide good masking for directions, that is true. Lemire? I have just remembered something. Do tell. When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped? Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead. That mixing board I lent you, where is it? I've been carrying it in my pocket the whole time. The mixing it, huh? That machine, Apollo. The one that breaks music into tracks. Oh, this! I'd completely forgotten about it. The layers, they deepen. And now there are music layers. Let's take a listen. Second verse. So right there then. The song does stop there. It does? I must have missed it. How do you forget that you had the entire damn board in your pocket? Yeah, he's been carrying that around at this point for like 2 days. Look at the lyrics sheet at the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. We heard it the first time. Only one pleasure. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lemura's ballad. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darian Crescend could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Airforehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Well, how did you forget that you had that entire damn board? Yeah, I agree. I already read that. I forgot. I need someone to actually sing this word for word, because I need to know if the lyrics actually have a flow. Let's see. Sugar, sugar, oh, that night in your embrace. When you stole away the keys my heart held on to so tight. Pleasure, pleasure, but a fleeting melody. It wraps itself around me and now through the air I fly. Whoa, whoa, burning on in my heart, fire. Burn my love away, all away, like a bullet of love, fire. Take my life away, all away. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. I don't know, I'm improvising a lot here, but yeah, I think it might, maybe, but I'm also not a singer person, so like, I don't know. Airforehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lemura's testimony. Yes? Is there a problem with this? That needs to be on Spotify or listen to on loop. Please don't. Listen to better things. Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. The man? You don't mean... That's right. Chuck Norris, yes. Though he is a friend and a band member, Darian Crescend must take the stand. I see no other way. As someone with a new perspective on the case? As a suspect, to be frank. I can see it working out with some slight modifications from what you did. It could work, yeah. It just doesn't rhyme at all. Granted, not all songs need to rhyme, but like, I don't know, I like songs that do. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. It all comes back to holes. I didn't even bring it up this time. It's all holes all the way down. Which basically makes it a tube, technically, but that's not the point. And I'm ready to catch him. Dorian Crescend, get ready for justice! This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. Which feels like a good time for me to stop. Look, even to be continued, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Arrowhead, your favorite VTuber Android. My next stream will be sometime this week. Keep an eye out for my schedule tomorrow to find out when. Have a lovely morning, day, or evening. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. And goodbye for now.